All right, what's up, guys? Chocosur here, and we're back with another Secret of Mana Randomizer Seed of the Week. This is number 248, and for this week, we have a Mana Tree Revival Seed for this week. Okay, so first things first, I do want to get this out. Last week, I tried something different last week, and it's kind of because I was forced to, because OBS unfortunately did not record my microphone while I was recording last week's weekly. So I had to improvise, and I did like a weekly seed review, quote unquote. I was wondering if you guys wanted to see more of those, because if so, I will be happy to, do it in that format. I personally found it kind of fun where I'm looking back over my weekly run and noticing, any mistakes that I make, or pointing out, the decisions, explaining the decisions I'm making as I'm watching back my gameplay. So uh, it's something different for a change. So feel free to comment down below if you want to see more of those weekly seed reviews like I did for weekly 247. But anyway, we're going to get right into the seed 248. It is a Mana Tree Revival seed. We have 10 flags. So let's see what we are dealing with here. Starting off, we have restrictive logic. We have swapped bosses. So the bosses are going to be randomized. We have hard complexity as well, so the progression items could be placed behind chains or in low priority spots or in silly spots. They could be harder to get to in general, so we do have to keep that in mind as we play through the seed. We also have no trash weapons enabled. It is what it says. Watts will not be forging any trash weapons. Usually he has a very small chance to forge a trash weapon, which basically means that we need to reforge ASAP, because trash weapons have like a 10% hit rate and they do like no damage. So we won't be dealing with that this seed. Stat growth increased after bosses. It is what it says. So normally the enemy levels, or the enemy stat growth, is influenced by your level. In this seed, it's going to be increased, or influenced rather. It's going to be influenced after every boss you kill. So you could level up in the early game and not influence the enemy levels. But once you start killing bosses, that's when the enemies will start to scale up. So we do have to keep that in mind. Save splitting definitely going to be useful here. And especially since it's hard complexity, this could be a rather lengthy seed depending on how many mana seeds we need to find. So yeah, we got to keep that in the back of our mind here. We also have a 1.0 XP multiplier. So basically the experience we get is not going to be as much as we usually get. Now, usually this is a good thing, but in this case, since the stat growth is increased after bosses, I don't think it's going to be too impactful early. It is going to be impactful later on in the seed though, so we do have to watch out for that. We also have to watch out for the fact that we may not level up after a boss, and we won't get our MP refilled, so we may have to rely on walnuts, especially if we don't find the sprite, or if we don't find Luna, or any of those. So we do have to keep that in mind as well. We also have enemy type status ailments. We have a random amount of required seeds. However, the minimum is 5 and the maximum is 7. So what this means is we either need to find 5 seeds, 6 seeds, or 7 seeds to complete the run. And we won't know exactly how many seeds we need until we visit the mana tree. Yeah, so those are the flags for this weekly seed. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be too bad. Of course, hard complexity is there, and that could be pretty mean. So depending on how everything's laid out, This could be a lengthier seed. We also have to deal with, you know, stat growth increase after bosses, so we may have to save split a lot. And we also need to figure out how many seeds we actually need. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. 3, 2, 1, go. Okay, we're starting with the boy, of course. No specified start here. No random starting character. We always start with the boy when none of those other flags are in play. Okay. All right, our starting weapon is the glove. All right, so glove start. Okay, high damage, strength, and thunder. Ugh. Okay, so I probably want to get rid of that ASAP. If we can find a glove orb somewhere, then that'd be wonderful. All right, so we're gonna get right into our freebies here. Oh, speaking of glove orb, there's one right there. Cool. All right, so spear at Northtown Castle. Hints are enabled for this seed, of course. Alright, we got hair ribbons and tiger cap in the Poto shop, so I want to keep that in mind. Tiger caps are there. So once we get 1100 gold, we might just come back and get one of those. Alright, so we're going to drop a save and peek the Manta Sand spot just to see what it is. If I get lucky, I can kill this. Yeah, if I get lucky with the rolls with high damage. Ow. Okay, we don't want to take too many hits either. Now, let's be careful here. There we go. Yeah, that's why we really don't want high damage because, well, high damage range because it's too coin flippy. I personally like consistency in my weapon attacks. All right, sword orb and boom orb. We're gonna go ahead and reset out of that. And we're gonna go straight to our hints. All right, not needed Undini. Good to know. Mech 3 is dead. All right, that's a good hint because now we know there is no seed on Mech 3. All right, not needed Lumina. We don't care. I have to hit this. Okay, this is a problem because the eggplant man's in a spot where I actually can't hit him. Okay, let me get him to move. Come on over here. There we go. Move out of the way. That spot's annoying. Alright, needed Salamander. We don't care. I'm not even going to mark him down because, like I said, Mech 3 is dead. We don't have to go there. Alright, Moogle Belt and the mountains. Oops. Okay, Gnome is early. And Wind Seed in a chest. Okay. Alright, so Wind Seed's in a chest. That could be anything really. It could be Treasury, could be, you know, Fire Palace. Could be Gaia's Navel. We'll go for the magic rope chest here and check the Gaius naval checks. Okay, there's an axe orb. Go out. I don't feel too good about save splitting these bosses here, so we're not going to. Just gonna grab the freebies and leave. Unless there's money on one of these checks, which I don't know. Okay, boom orb. Bow orb. Dryad. Okay, there's the Midge Mallet. Sure, we take that. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with these boss checks right now. We just don't have the defense for them. I mean, we got a high damage range strength weapon, yeah, but I don't want to have to rely on that. Okay, Cobra Bracelet, Chest Guard. Okay. Alright, the hints have been kind of bad so far, which is quite unfortunate. The only good hint we've gotten so far was that the wind seat's in a chest. Yeah, we can check this, sure. It's good for the information. Okay, Tiara, Golden Vest. Okay. Dryad Seed behind the waterfall. Okay, so that's actually a really good hint because we know where the Dryad Seed is now. Okay, so with that said, I want to go to Lighthouse. We'll grab this check. Okay, 800 bucks. Moogle Village. Dryad Seeds at Undini's Cave confirmed. Thanks to a hint. Hit this. Uh-oh. This is bad. This is bad. This is bad. Reset. We don't want to deal with that. Okay, I need to hit. Oh, crap. No. Alright, let's see. How are we going to get past this area? I think we just go this way. Freaking owls. Holy sh... I can't even get to... Okay. Hit this. I have to spam buttons here. I have to spam buttons until my silence wears off. Because they're going to swarm me. There we go. Alright, now we're good. Jeez. Freaking owls. Those guys can kill you if you don't have armor, by the way. That's why we had to reset twice there, unfortunately. Alright, Jav Orb. 1,000 bucks. Alright, here's what we do. We're gonna forge. Alright, Calculi. Light and intelligence. Okay, that's decent, I guess. Before I go any further, we are going to go back to Potos and we're going to pick up that Tiger Cap because we need some armor. I've already had to reset twice because of owls and their silent shenanigans. There we go. All right, so let's see. Actually, what I should do is just grab this Dryad seed right now while I'm over here in the early game. Because we know where it is. We know it's behind the waterfall, so I think I'm just going to grab this right now. And that way I'll have it. Okay, let's hope we don't get ballooned here. Nice. Okay. There we go. Alright, so we know this is the Dryad seed. Thanks to the hint earlier. We know the wind seed's in a chest. Okay, and we got 2,000 bucks on top of that too, which is really, really nice. Okay, let's get out of here. All right, so we got one seed. Wind seed's in a chest. Gnome is early. We know Gnome is not at Mantis Sand because we already checked that. So Gnome is most likely at Pandora Ruins or in the Treasury. It could be at Witch's Castle too, or in one of the Dwarf Village checks. It could be. Okay, we got 4,000 bucks here. Golem ring. Nah. I could though. I could. All right, we need to get the ball rolling here, so let's head on towards Santa's house. We'll go Santa's house into Ice Palace. We did Lighthouse. I probably should have went to Mirror first instead of come here, but that's okay. All right, girl in a treasure room. Okay, so we know where Prim is. Another glove orb. I'm trying to think if I want to like do a full freebies run because we know that the wind seed's in a chest. Oh, I was just checking to see if my glove was level 2, and it is. Okay, there's that. We can check that, sure. Okay, strength and stone. That's actually really nice. Yeah, we'll go to Mirror here. Actually, no. We'll go to Sunken City. We can grab this chest out of Logic. You know what? Do I want to turn in the Dryad Seed here? I could. I don't know if I want to, though. I totally could. Okay, level 3, that's fine. Damn. Wrong spot. Need to be right here. Okay, gold key. That's out of logic since we don't have the axe. I mean, I could. The bosses are like level 2. I could. I totally could. But I don't think that's a priority right now. Also, we just picked up that gold key, and that leads to 2 more chests in the Light Palace. So the Wind Seed could be in there too. It's very possible. Alright, sort of. Okay, no hint on the king. I'm going to check this shop down here, because I'm sitting on like 4,000 gold and I kind of want some armor. Alright, what we got? Okay, attacker cap. Okay, and fancy overalls are here. Wolf band. I could pick this up. Nah. I'll wait. I will wait. Because if I find something like Power Wrist or Ivy Amulet, then I might get that instead. I'm actually going to go to Mandala here. I'm trying to think if I want to do a full freebies run. I don't know. Okay. Go ahead and force that. Do I want to force this? It's got strength and stone on it, so probably not. Ooh, so is this though. Yeah, maybe I should force that boomerang. Might as well. I don't need 2 strength and stone weapons. Okay, crescent. Let's see what we're working with here. Wow. Alright, well. I mean, stone is nice, yeah, but I don't need a bunch of stone weapons. I really don't. Alright, let's see if we can learn anything here. Alright, Fire Final is the Water Seed. Ugh. What a spot. Okay. Grand Palace stuff. Undini, Beyond the Pure Lands Bushes. Total Elements, we don't care. Javelin Lake. Okay, so the Water Seed is on the Fire Seed pedestal. Which, that's gonna take some work to get to. We need a sprite for one thing. And we don't know what the orbs are, so yeah, I don't know if I even go for that. Okay, spear up there. We also don't know if we need 7 seeds or not. That's the maximum seeds required. So if the seed is mean and forces me to get 7 seeds this run, then we might have to consider that Water Seed. Okay, let's stop by the armor shop here. Maybe there's something. Ooh, yes, here we go. Grab 3. Just the cheap. I didn't have the money for them. All right. We do have a level 2 glove, so my next stop is going to be Fire Palace, and we're going to attempt to get this first chest out of logic, which we should be able to. Before I do that, though, I want to see what the orb here is. Just for information purposes. Okay, what are we dealing with? Sylphid. Okay, so that's blocked by Sylphid. Okay, I need to kill these ducks. Wow. Try that again. There we go. Alright, so we got up here. This first chest is going to be out of logic because we don't have Sylphid, obviously. Yikes. Oh, brother. Alright, so there's our wind seed. Check the sword for information. Salamander. Okay, whip out. Water seeds on the fire seed pedestal. But that's being blocked by Sylphid and Salamander right now. And whatever else is in there that we need. We also need the whip. And obviously we need the fire seed. So there's a lot blocking that water seed right now. Okay, that's Salamander as well. Alright, so plan me out. It's good to check these palace orbs, especially on hard complexity, because you never know when you might have to go back. Trying to think if I just want to go do the Empire free checks or not. Alright, sort of. We can check Mara. This might be a seed where I also might want to consider Northtown Ruins because, again, it's hard complexity. Another glove orb, jeez. I think I'm happy with what I have, though. I'm happy with what I have right now. I'm thinking to just go to Pandora Ruins here and clear that out. My concern right now is the fact that we don't have any elemental spirits. We know where the girl is, but we don't know where the sprite is. So that's one of my concerns right now. We also don't have an axe or a whip, or a sword for that matter. So we don't have a cutting weapon, nor do we have the whip. So I wonder if I should just full clear early game here. I don't know. I guess I'll make that decision once I see what's in that treasury. We know the girl is in the treasury for sure. We don't know what else is in there though. Gnome's in a chest as well, so if Gnome is there with her, then I think we'll be in a better position. That is a dark lich up there, I can tell. Yup. Oh wow, I wish I had that other glove. Because that other glove was light element. Yeah. Dang. That's unfortunate. That's alright though. We're fine. Nice. Okay. So whatever is in this treasury is going to determine what I do next, because again, there's a lot of stuff we're still missing, like a cutting weapon, the whip, an elemental spirit, a sprite, another glove orb. What is this? 4 glove orbs. Might just keep the glove on the boy. We also have the wind seed and the dryad seed. We can check those. We saw chest guard. We saw tiger cap. All right, yeah, we can skip that because we saw chest guard in Dwarf Village. I think I'll go for that. We know the girl is up here. Okay, so if I check the wind seed pedestal, that's going to be out of logic because the wind seed right now is out of logic. Since we don't have a Sylphid in the sprite or the girl. So maybe I can do a cheeky wind pedestal check. I don't know. Okay, there's the fire seed. There's the bow. Spear orb. There's gnome. There's the girl. We knew she was here. And the moon seed. Alright, so girl came with the sword. Okay, intelligence. I might just keep this on the boy, honestly. Bow is dark strength. Hope out. Chest guard we saw in Dwarf Village. Oh, let me go to Potos first. Potos we saw tiger cap. There's a hint out here as well. So let me grab some armor for her real fast. I honestly might put that glove on the girl. I don't know if I want to though. Know what I can do though. Ah, she has my damn sword. Alright. Give me that sword, girly. Yeah, you can have the gloves. Wow. Okay, so useless hint. Alright, we go to Dwarf Village here. Actually. Hold on, let me reevaluate my situation here. We got 4 mana seeds. We know there's a seed at the fire seed pedestal. I'm gonna forge the sword here. What did I just get? Increased crit agility. Okay, that's fine. I honestly don't want to check these spots. Grab that. Let me see. We can sell this. Sell this. And you should be okay. Alright, let me sleep first. I don't want to do dwarf village bosses. I really don't. Not in this situation. I don't. Clear me up. Empire. Just a hand on Chrissy. The problem with going for the water seed right now is the fact that it's blocked by a bunch of stuff, which we don't have access to right now. We don't have Sylphid, we don't have the Sprite. Ooh, okay, that's actually a good hint because we know that the Fire Seed, or not the Fire Seed, but the second Fire Palace orb is a Salamander orb. Maybe I go Empire here. Yeah, I think I just go Empire here. I'm gonna go Ruins. Yeah, we'll go Ruins first. I usually never do Ruins first, but I'm gonna do Ruins first today. You know what, Prim? Go ahead and cast that. Alright, hold on. Let me check experience real quick. 98, 4. Alright, Prem. Before I kill another enemy, I want to get this up to 2 real quick. There we go. Kill. Kill. Money. Nice. Alright, Javelin. Okay, so if we find Salamando, we know he's in the Empire. Somewhere. We can use Fire Bouquet on the orb. But then our problem is we don't have a whip. Alright, 2,000 bucks. Rope out. Alright, let me think. Let's think back to our hints. This is why getting information is important, by the way. Okay, we got a hint for the spear being in Northtown. We know the javelin is late. And we have everything else. So that means the Sprite, by process of elimination, the Sprite has either the axe or the whip. So there's a 50-50 chance that we need to find the Sprite, because if the Sprite has the whip, that means that we can actually get through to the Fire Seed pedestal, assuming we can get past that third orb. We don't know what that third orb is, obviously, so... There's just a lot to think about right now. Alright, bow orb. We're gonna full clear this place. Because we know Salamander's in the Empire. It could be here, or if it's not here, it's in the castle. Somewhere. We want to make sure we cover all our bases here. We are level 4. Girl is level 2. I think the enemies are level 3, I want to say. 4. Okay. Enemies level 4. Okay, speed up is gone. That's fine. Okay, she just leveled to 3. That's fine. We're not going to speed up just yet. Now I am. Alright. Ooh, wall face. Okay. I'm surprised he targeted her right there. Nice. Good job, baby girl. Level 3 glove with strength and stone. I think she did more damage than the boy there because Wallface is weak to earth, so there's that. Okay, we level. Get a boom orb. Wow, the dark seed is here though. Ugh. That's actually 5 too. Yeah, I gotta keep going though. Bow, treasure room, we already got that. I gotta keep going because there's a world where we need 7 seeds. Who's this? Oh, warrior face? Okay. We got you. Alright, Prim, hold on. I'm trying to sync my attacks with hers. It's going down. Nope. He's dead. He's dead. Can we get another spell off here? Yeah, we can. Nice. Okay. So now our situation's changed a little bit because we have 5 seeds. So there's a world where if we go to Pure Land now and clear it, we could be done. There's also a world where we need to find 2 more seeds. Do I take the gamble? Okay, there's that. 3,200. I think yes. You know what I'm gonna do here? We are going to level up our Salamando to probably level 5. Yeah, probably level 5. I've got 9 MP, so it's 3 per. Probably faster if I do this at Wind Palace. Yeah, I'm gonna go to Wind Palace. I'm gonna take an extra boss for this, but I think it's okay. So my plan here is, I need to sleep because I just wasted 2 spells. My plan here is to get Salamando to level 5 and then try to blast through these Pure Land bosses with her. Yeah, I think that's what I'll do. I'll need to get walnuts too. Because I think relying on just Gnome and the boy is going to be a little slower. I might just do both. Buffy, damn. Oh, she's hitting him. Okay. Yeah, so we're gonna take an extra boss there. It is 1.0 XP, so it's not gonna be too bad of a decision. Yeah, I think I just make the Pure Land play here. Probably the safest thing to do. We don't know how many seeds we need. And it's possible we need 5. So 1 out of 3 chance we need 5. Alright, what's here? Spear Orb and nothing. Okay, that's fine. 9 MP. Yeah, we Fire Bouquet. The reason I want to get this to level 5 is because one Fire Bouquet has a low spell power for one thing. It's only a spell power of 43, which is tied with Lava Wave. So I want to see if I can get her an int weapon too, just for the extra damage. Okay, we hit 4. We need 5 spells for level 5 though. Which we can get that just fine. Yeah, this is much faster than doing it in Potos. That's why I came here. Usually when you have a wind seed, it's almost always faster to just eat the boss experience and just level up at the Wind Palace. How far is your... Oh, it's level 3. Okay, never mind. I might as well get it to 4. I might as well get it to 4. Okay. We're not going to get Gnome to 5. There's no need to. This is just so I can run longer. Alright, we save and go to Kakara real fast. I want to stock up on walnuts there. I also want to try and look for an int weapon. We have the bow, we have the sword, and we have the boomerang. I don't want to spend too much money. I want to make sure I get some walnuts. Alright, so let's see. Bow. Boomerang. Hopefully one of these is intelligence. I don't know. Okay. Beast Con confused. Strength confused. Okay, that works. Alright, boomerang it is. Get some walnuts. Okay, I got no healing items now, but we should be okay. Alright. Let's roll the dice. Let's coin flip. Because I know some of these runners, they like coin flipping their run, so I'm going to do the same. We're going to coin flip today. We are going to coin flip. Tiger. Spiky? Yeah, damn. Unfortunate. Phase 2. I'm not going to fire bouquet him because it's not going to do as much damage. Matter of fact, Rim, you can just go back to your gloves. Ah. He's in phase 2, unfortunately. Alright, he's dead. We got a pretty bad pattern right there. What I wanted to do was get in his face and have him bite so I can actually hit him on my recovery animation. But unfortunately, he just swapped right to phase 2. You can't AI manip him on phase 2, unfortunately. Okay, Axe Orb, Glove Orb. Let's keep going. Level 7. I do want to keep tabs of these enemy levels too. Level 10. Okay. Ugh. Okay, so this is a boss where we're gonna just straight up fire brigade him to hell. Let's see if I can finish him here. I don't know. There we go. No walnut necessary. The first 2 fire bouquets rolled low, I think. Because if I would have hit 200 on all 3 of them, he would have just straight up died. Okay, Prem leveled, and the boy did not. Level Whip Orb. We're here to find out how many seeds we need. If we already have enough, we don't know. There's 1 out of 3 chance that we might have enough. Oh, we are most definitely bouqueting you. 100%. You did? Yep. This is why we level up Fire Bouquet, folks. It's not the strongest spell in the game, but it works. If it's the only thing you have that's offensive, then, you know, you just got to use it. Because, like I mentioned earlier, Fire Bouquet has a spell power of 43, and, ugh. Sylphid is here? Ew. As I was saying, Fire Bouquet has a spell power of 43, and you want to do as much damage with that thing as you can, so that's why we get it to level 5. Okay. Dead. Yep. This is one of those situations where, you know, it's faster to just spam Fire Bouquet on these fights, instead of relying on Gnome and charge attacks from the boy. Alright, Spear Orb. Oh my god. Are you kidding me? The Sprite is here with the whip? You are kidding me. And he's dead. Oh gosh, that was funny. Alright, I mean, it is what it is. I can't help him. Because these enemies are what, level 16? 14. Okay. Prim, are you full MP? Yes. Okay, so Prim is good to go. We're not worried about her. Not yet, anyway. Snapdragon. More Fire Bouquet food. Okay, we leveled up. Got one more boss. Yeah, we're not worried about the sprite at this point. We're really not. Ooh, this might be an issue though. How much does this thing do? Probably not much, right? Yeah, let's not do that. Analyze. 800. Okay, we're gonna have to come up with some other strat here. Friend, I'm gonna give you the gloves for this one. And I probably need to refresh speed up too. Yeah, let's refresh speed up. Yeah. Yeah, this one might take a bit because we don't have Undini, unfortunately. Nor do we have Luna. So this one's gonna be a little bit of a slower fight, unfortunately. Got him. I'll try to keep him in this position. Damn. Oh, you got him. Nice. Come on, up here, up here. Got him. Woo! Prim actually helped a lot right there with those glove hits. She actually helped a lot right there. All right. Yeah, we couldn't spam bouquet right there because obviously it is strong against fire. There goes Sprite again. All right, so let's see. If we need 5 C's, then we're done. If we need 6, we have Sylphid, we have Salamander, we have the Whip. The issue is we don't know what that third orb is in Fire Palace. If we need 7, then we go for that Water Seed, and we have to go for either the Light Seed or the Earth Seed, which we don't know what either of those are. Let's see. Are we good? We are good. Okay, so that's it then. All right, so 53:12 is our time. Not too shabby. All right, so this seed can be played a couple of ways, honestly. You could do something like, you know, get freebies and then run straight to Pandora Ruins, get the girl who came with the sword, and then you go straight to Pure Land to get the information on how many seeds you need, which obviously is 5. And then you go from there. We did get some pretty good hints. There were a few. I mean, the other hints were kind of trash this seed, but there were some standout hints, like the Dryad Seed being behind a waterfall. That was a good hint. That sends you to Undini's cave. Wind Seed being behind a chest. Now that one's tricky because what the seed wants you to do for that one is go to Pure Land, get Sylphid. Well, actually, no, the seed wants you to go to Pandora Ruins to get the girl, to get the sword, and then go to Pure Land to get Sylphid, and then continue through Pure Land to get the sprite who had the whip. But mainly it's just Sylphid. So go get Sylphid, leave Pure Land, go get the Wind Seed from the first chest in Fire Palace. And then the seed also tells you that the Water Seed is on the Fire Seed pedestal. Now, the Fire Seed pedestal requires Sylphid, Salamander, Sprite, well, not necessarily Sprite, but the Whip, and whatever element that third orb is, we don't know, and the Fire Seed. So, to get the Water Seed, you would have to get those. Fire Seed was in the treasury along with the girl. The Whip was on the Sprite, so you had to get the Sprite anyway. And you had to get Sylphid, which was also in Pure Land. So you have to get all of those just to get to that Water Seed. But yeah, I mean, the seed doesn't give you... It gives you a few good hints, and you can kind of play off those. But after that, you're pretty much on your own, because the seed doesn't give you any more hints about any of the seeds. You pretty much stumble upon the Fire Seed and the Moon Seed, because once you get done with Pandora Ruins and check the treasury for the girl, then those two seeds are sitting there as well. So you will stumble upon those. So that's 2 seeds. You also start off with the glove, and I think that's pretty important, the seed, because it allows the runner to check places out of logic, which, you know, sometimes you just have to do it. Gold Key was out of logic. Sylphid, not Sylphid. Wind Seed was out of logic, as was the Wind Seed check. So those were out of logic this run. The sword orb we found in the gold tower was out of logic as well, since we didn't have the axe. But if the runner does not go out of logic, or chooses not to go out of logic, then they have to go to Pure Land. They have to get Sylphid. They have to get Salamando. Or not Salamando. They have to get Sylphid. They have to get the Whip and the Sprite to get to that Wind Seed. They have to get the Whip, the Sprite, and Salamander to get to the Water Seed, which you know is also in the Fire Palace because of a hint. But I felt as though doing the route that I did, I don't know if it was the best route, honestly, because we found a seed in Northtown Ruins. The only reason why I went to Northtown Ruins is because we saw that hint on Chrissy saying that Salamander was in the Empire, and then I'm like, oh, okay, so we know that the second orb in Fire Palace is a Salamander orb, so that means that that's another piece of the puzzle solved to get to the Water Seed if I needed to get to it. So that's why I decided to do Northtown Ruins right then and there after that Chrissy hint, because I wanted to get to Salamander. And of course, if Salamander wasn't at Northtown Ruins, I would have checked Northtown Castle. But Salamander happened to be in Northtown Ruins. But the good thing about that is you stumble upon the Dark Seed. So the Dark Seed is in a... I'm not going to say it's in a trolley spot, but it's in a spot where some runners don't like checking Northtown Ruins, which I completely understand why. But in this case, you kind of have to do it because we don't know where the other 2 seeds are. So checking that Chrissy hint, I feel, was a... Well, going to Northtown Ruins after checking the Chrissy hint was a pretty smart move, I think. Because we stumbled upon the Dark Seed after that, and then we found Salamander on Vampire, which is another piece of the puzzle solved. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm not sure how efficient this route was, but seeing where Sylphid was and seeing where the Sprite was, maybe it was more efficient than I thought. I don't know. Sprite definitely was in an awkward spot this seed. Awkward spot. I can even go as far as to say he was in a terrible spot, because once the runner goes through Pure Land or starts going through Pure Land and finds Sylphid, they continue, and then they find that Sprite that has the Whip. It's like, it's awkward because now you think, oh, okay, well, I might need to go to Fire Palace, especially if the runners, checked all the hints. I might need to go to Fire Palace and try and go for that water seed because honestly, I think there's a world where someone has to check it because if they have, say, 4 seeds by the time they get to the mana tree, uh, Fire Seed, Moon Seed, Dryad Seed. I'm guessing Dryad Seed because, again, if the runner goes for all of the hints, they will learn about the Dryad Seed being at Undini's cave, so they'll most likely pick that up. And then if they decide to check the Wind Seed out of logic with the glove, which they most certainly can because the seed gives you the glove at the start of the run, so why not do it? So that'll be 4 seeds. And if the runner goes to Pure Land with 4 seeds, thinking, oh, maybe there's a 5th seed here in Pure Land and there's a 5 seed requirement, then I can be done. I can see that too. But then they find the Sprite and the Whip and Sylphid all in Pure Land. And then it's like awkward because now you're thinking, oh, I might have to go back to Fire Palace and see if I can get through there because there's a world where once someone gets the Sprite and the Whip and says, oh, I might have to go to Fire Palace now because Sylphid, Salamando, Whip, Fire Seed, you have all the components, but the only missing component is that third orb. So we don't know what that third orb is. So I feel as though in that situation, the runner has to check Fire Palace to see what that third orb is. Because if it's something silly like Lumina or Luna or Dryad, which we never found, then they're in a more awkward situation because now you can't get to the water seed without that last elemental. But if it was a Sylphid orb or a Gnome orb or something like that, or even Undini or Salamander, then yeah, they can get to that water seed. So yeah, there's a few ways that one can play through this seed. Honestly, I'm not too keen about this time. I feel as though this could be done in the 40s, and I won't be surprised if someone gets like a 40 something on this seed. But then again, it depends on what seeds they get. It also depends on when they go to Pure Land too. Like if they don't go to Pure Land early, they'll never get that whip until they, do it. Or if they don't go through Northtown Ruins, they'll never find that Dark Seed, and so on and so on. So I don't know. Maybe this time is probably better than I'm thinking. Matter of fact, we can just put this time in right now. It is Monday as I'm recording this seed, so maybe some of the other runners have finished the seed already. But yeah, I don't know about this time. I just feel as though it's a weird time. I feel as though this seed can be done in the 40s. So what did we get? 53-12. And let's see where we stand here. Yeah. Wow. Holy. Okay, so we landed in second place. First got a 45-35. Yeah, I figured. We got 53-12. We're in second place. Third with a 59-06. Fourth with a 101-25. Fifth with a 104-32. Sixth with a 107-19. And then seventh with a 148-08. I wonder what happened there. Let's see what some of these guys are saying. But yeah, 45. Holy crap, 45-35 is absolutely insane. And it's like I was saying earlier, I figured someone was going to get a 40 something on this seed. Please tell me Witch's Castle didn't have a seed. I don't know. We never went there. Witch's Castle, I don't know. That seems awkward because we don't get the whip until we get to the sprite, and the sprite's way back in Pure Land, and we obviously don't know where the axe is. So I don't know. Witch's Castle seems like a weird play. Let's see. Definitely overestimated how much extra XP I needed around the middle, but that probably only ultimately cost me about 10 minutes. Hunting for that last seed was rough. I really didn't want to fight the doppelgangers. So I'm assuming they found the axe. Was hunting for Salamander and ended up getting. Yeah, so first place did what we did pretty much as far as going for Salamando, because we went for Salamando as well. As soon as I saw that hint on Chrissy, that's when I decided to check Northtown Ruins and look for Salamando, because we knew that second orb in Fire Palace was a Salamander orb, and we knew that the Water Seed was in the Fire Palace. So they got the Dark Seed as their fifth. So did we, I think. Yeah, we did. We got the Dark Seed as our fifth. And that's when I decided to say, you know what, let's just go to Pure Land and gamble. Let's see, Wind Seed and Fire Palace chest, one out of Logic, yep. But was Logic in the end? Dryad Seed on Undini was a hint, yep. No idea where I got the Fire and Moon Seed. Fire and Moon Seed was sitting in the treasury, Pandora Ruins. So I'm assuming they took a similar route to what I did. They just did it better. They did it better. I don't know. I wonder if they decided to grind Salamander to 5. I don't know. Maybe they went for gnome strats. I don't know. I can't really say. But yeah, definitely some good times here for sure. It makes me curious on where the other seeds are, because I have a feeling that, and hear me out. Whips on Sprite in Pure Land, which required a cutting weapon, right? Sylphid didn't require a cutting weapon. That was complexity, what, 0? Because we have Flaming Drum at the start. No, I'm sorry, that's complexity 1, because the sword was on the girl in Pandora Ruins. So that would be complexity 0. Sylphid would be complexity 1. Sprite and the whip would be complex 2. And then Sylphid, I'm sorry, not Sylphid, the Wind Seed. The Wind Seed would also be complexity 2, because you don't need the whip to get to that. You just need Sylphid. If you're in Logic anyway, you need Sylphid. Which I imagine most of these runners, they got the Wind Seed out of Logic. I imagine they did, because we start out with the glove, so I don't see why runners don't, check that out of Logic. Let's see. Salamander Orb and Fire Palace was the second one. We don't know what was beyond that. So Whip was complexity 2. Sprite was complexity 2. So I'm going to assume that items like the axe was complexity 3. Maybe we needed the whip to get to the axe this run. Maybe. It's also possible that there could be seeds that are locked behind the axe as well. The Earth Seed or the, what was the other one? The Light Seed. We never found those. They're probably locked by something, which I won't be surprised because it's hard complexity. There's also a world. Someone went Witch's Castle though, so I'm assuming that they didn't have 5 seeds. Going into Pure Land. Yeah, it's too much to think about, honestly. It's one of those seeds where you do want to check out out of logic locations because you're given the glove at the start. Like I said earlier, I imagine most of the runners they did that or not. I don't know how they blend their seed, but I imagine you know some of the good runners will check uh, win seed out of logic. Um, and I imagine that a lot of the runners went for the hints too, because there were some pretty trash hints. However, there were some really good hints in there as well. Chrissy gave you the hint for Salamando, so that incentivized me and you know other runners to go look for Salamando, because especially if you see that after seeing that Salamander orb in Fire Palace, after checking the wind seed out of logic. So yeah, go for Salamando. You find the dark seed on the way. Uh, you find Salamando in the back of Northtown Ruins on Vampire, and then if you have 5 seeds at that point, I feel as though you just coin flip at that point instead of trying to look for a 6th seed or a 7th seed, unless you have to, which we didn't have to this run. But coin flipping on 5 seeds is probably the best way to go here, because there's a 1 out of 3 chance that 5 seeds will end the run, and it did. But anywho, I will see you all next time.